Machine Gun Kelly was an American gangster from Memphis, Tennessee, active during the Prohibition era, and nicknamed after his favorite weapon, the Thompson submachine gun. He pulled off one of history's most infamous crimes after kidnapping oil tycoon and businessman Charles F. Urschel in July 1933 and thought he would get away with it. Welcome to the Past Crimes channel, and this is the story of George Kelly Barnes. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you found it worth watching. Kelly's first sign of trouble occurred in 1917 when he enrolled at Mississippi State University to study agriculture. Kelly was considered a poor student from the start, with his highest grade awarded for good physical hygiene. He was constantly in trouble with the faculty and spent the majority of his academic career trying to work off the demerits he had accrued. Kelly met a young woman named Geneva Ramsey during this time period. Kelly quickly fell in love with Geneva and abruptly dropped out of school to marry her. The couple had 2 sons, but he was unable to hold a job to support his new family, and they were divorced soon after. Kelly worked as a bootlegger for himself and a colleague during the Prohibition era of the 1920s and 1930s. After a short time and several run-ins with the Memphis police, he decided to leave town with his girlfriend and head west. He changed his name to George or Kelly to protect his family and to avoid law enforcement officers. He continued to commit minor offenses and engage in bootlegging. In 1928, he was arrested in Tulsa, Oklahoma, for smuggling liquor onto a Native American reservation, and he was sentenced to 3 years in Leavenworth Penitentiary in Kansas, beginning February 11, 1928. He was said to be a model inmate who was released early. Shortly after, Kelly married Catherine Thorne, an experienced criminal who purchased Kelly's first machine gun and insisted on him performing target practice in the countryside despite his lack of interest in weapons, and went to great lengths to familiarize his name within underground crime circles. Kelly's final criminal act, the kidnapping of wealthy Oklahoma City resident Charles F. Urschel in July 1933, would be his undoing. Kelly and his accomplice Albert Bates kidnapped Urschel from his Oklahoma City home on July 22, 1933. 3 days later, a ransom note arrived via Western Union at Urschel's friend J.G. Catlett's home, demanding $200,000 for the wealthy businessman's release. After being blindfolded, Urschel recorded evidence of his experience, such as remembering background sounds, counting footsteps, and leaving fingerprints on surfaces within reach. The FBI used this information to conclude that Urschel had been held hostage in Paradise, Texas, based on sounds Urschel remembered hearing while being held hostage. The exchange went smoothly a few days later. The money was in Kelly's hands, and Urschel was back with his family. The Urschel case, however, was far from over. Urschel's collected intelligence assisted authorities in determining the kidnapper's likely location. An investigation in Memphis revealed that the Kellys were living at the home of J.C. Titchener. Special agents from Birmingham, Alabama, were immediately dispatched to Memphis, where a raid was carried out in the early morning hours of September 26, 1933. FBI agents and Memphis police officers apprehended George and Catherine Kelly. The arrest of the Kellys was overshadowed by the escape of 10 inmates, including all of the future John Dillinger gang, from the Michigan City Penitentiary that same night. The trial was held in Oklahoma City at the post office, courthouse, and federal office building, with Judge Edgar S. Vaught presiding. George and Catherine Kelly were convicted and sentenced to life in prison on October 12, 1933. An investigation in Coleman revealed that Cassie Earl Coleman and Will Casey had housed and protected the Kellys, and that Coleman had assisted George Kelly in storing $73,250 of the Urschel ransom money on his ranch. Bureau agents discovered this money in a cotton patch on Coleman's ranch in the early morning hours of September 27. Machine Gun Kelly spent the remaining 21 years of his life in prison. During his time on Alcatraz, he earned the moniker Pop Gun Kelly. According to fellow inmate Dale Stamphill, the nickname arose because he told big fish stories. The cons called him Pop Gun Kelly after cork guns that were popular with kids. The guys didn't take him seriously. This could be because, in addition to his exaggerated tall tales, Kelly was a model prisoner who did not act like the brutal gangster his wife, the media, and the FBI had painted him as. He spent 17 years on Alcatraz as inmate number 117, working in the prison industries and boasting and exaggerating his previous exploits to other inmates before being quietly transferred back to Leavenworth in 1951. On his 59th birthday, July 18, 1954, he died of a heart attack in Leavenworth. This was the story of the original Machine Gun Kelly. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.